and welcome to the third episode of Off the Buff. This week we are focusing on episode 3 of season 1 of Buffy called Witch. I am your host, your resident buff, Tony Webster.
I am your co-host, David Jackson. That's right, folks. If you are tuning into us, I keep saying tuning, I know it's a podcast. If you're listening to us for the first time and you are a Buffy aficionado like Tony, cool, welcome. I would recommend you go on and listen to the first 2 episodes, but yes, come on board. You won't be spoiled. You obviously know what happens. So if you are like me and you're watching for the first time, please go back to the first episode and watch from there because it'll be much, much better because there will be spoilers for those first 2 episodes. And with that,
especially when you find out Buffy's a vampire slayer.
I know that is one of the biggest shockers in that episode 3. Spoilers.
It's funny though, because actually, just as a small side note, that there really isn't any spoilers for anything in this episode. Like, it doesn't tell you anything that happened in the first 2, and it doesn't inform what's going to happen for the rest of the season.
I understand, yes. But it feels like, I think sometimes in any other... I love podcasts, by the way, folks. Like, I'm a big West Wing fan, so I listen to West Wing Weekly, and like I love that format that they do.
It's just called a recap podcast.
Yeah, true. It's called a recap podcast, sorry.
What do you even know about that stuff?
Nah, let's get into the episode. So, Tony, tell me what... So, Tony, give me a wee synopsis. Have you got a wee buff-nopsis?
I've got a synopsis, a buff-nopsis. I've got our Slayeropolis.
What's this? What are we doing now?
Slayeropolis. I think he used to be the ruler of Greece in like 300 BC.
Why are you doing this bit?
Anyway.
Slynopsis.
You're still doing it.
No, people are just going to think we can't speak.
Just a Buffy synopsis.
And I does know how to speak, right? So do okay, so here we go.
We made it.
Cheerleader from hell. When students start dropping out of cheerleading tryouts by spontaneously combusting, going blind, and losing the power of speech, Buffy and her posse suspect a powerful witch is in the midst. Buffy herself soon becomes the target of a deadly spell as they discover the witch's true identity. Meanwhile, Xander finally musters up the nerve to ask Buffy out on a date, but in the throes of a witch's spell, Buffy's response isn't exactly as he had hoped. Hope that wasn't the TV Times. That just gave away the whole episode.
Oh, well, that's just great, Dave.
Oh no, they do this.
Stop listening here now.
I know that's it done. So we'll tune into episode 4. It'll be out next week.
Yeah. Let's just create the shortest Buffy podcast ever. Will be a great term for a little podcast where it was just the synopsis of each episode read out. We'll do a Buffy deep dive where it takes about 18 seconds. A shallow dive, I guess that would be.
Very good. Right, let's go. Take us through this episode, Tony. So, where do we open up?
Well, so we open up in the library where I am. And Giles is kind of giving Buffy a little lecture saying, like, are you going to enslave yourself to this cult? And she's like, you don't like the color? And we see this, she's wearing a cheerleading outfit.
I told you, I'm trying out for the cheerleading squad.
Yeah, Jared's like a wee bit of a yappy man. It's like also telling her off, like her mum is telling her. Do you know what I mean? She's just getting it from everybody at the minute.
Yeah, she sure is. Like, also, and this is the thing I kind of love about this episode is that it's putting us into this place where obviously stuff happened in the movie, but they're not outright saying, but it's the implication that for Buffy that cheerleading represents something of a normal life.
Normal is relative, right?
We also get, and maybe we've had this before, but I'm only really noticing now, a reference to how long she's been doing this for.
I've been slaying vampires for more than a year now, and I have seen some pretty cringeworthy things.
But I quite like that we're getting that. Oh right, she's quite newish to it, and interestingly in this episode, because she's in the Hellmouth, she's only been fighting vampires, so this is going to be her first time fighting something that's not you can stake through the heart.
So Buffy just wants to be a bit of a normal girl and
understandable.
Burn her hair on her GHDs and be a cheerleader, and that's it. Or iron her on the floor with a towel.
Towel.
A towel. But then Xander gives her this bracelet when she's at the cheerleading trial that says, yours always.
That is so... I found this a wee bit like...
cringe.
Oh my god, I love your bracelet. Where did you get it?
See if I think back at the time. Is that something someone would do as a teenager? Probably. Like, it is something cringy, teenagery, probably. It is something I would have done.
Loser.
I'm trying to get over the fact that he just doesn't look 16, so I struggled that a 16-year-old's doing that. But if you had someone who looked... I think I would believe it more. I think it is gained my... I think we're going to have a little bit of theme, and there will be an episode or a time, and I'm like, okay, I get Xander, I'm on board. He's the one weakness in the cast, I find, but I'm hoping that he redeems himself later on. Is that unfair to say?
No, I don't think so. I know a lot of people have that experience with Xander as a character. Like, I really don't I don't mind him as much as what I think I do. I think that he's annoying until I'm watching it, and then I'm like, actually, he's not really.
But do you think maybe it's because you don't identify as much with Xander because he's like a straight white male?
Rude.
But even your friends at school, you wouldn't have had friends like a Xander. I would have had friends like a Xander, like a wee nerdy mate.
I can't help it that I'm popular.
Your friends were always girls and me. I was the Xander in your life. If you're like Buffy or Willow, if you're Cordelia, I'm fucking Xander.
What did she say?
I'm fucking Xander.
You heard it here first, folks.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's like, so I guess I'm noticing these wee idioms because I'm probably recognizing some of my own teenage cringe moments if I think about being 13 at the city hall chasing girls, trying to kiss girls and like failing miserably.
That's the thing that's brilliant about the rewatch is that you watch it through not just being older than a teenager, but having come through like that entire part of your life where now you're in like your. It's not for. I actually really enjoy being able to look back, and I feel like one of those people. In a funny way that they talk about in films, you know, like old stuff. I feel like a Giles probably, or Buffy's mum, but now I could completely.
We're probably the
understand
age Giles was in this show.
Did anyone ever tell you you're kind of a sexy fuddy-duddy?
He's probably touching 40 in this show, not to tell our ages, but you're older than me, so class. So yes, we get this little bit from Xander, which I find cringe, but also it works in the show because we also get that little like, Midsummer Night's Dreamy sort of Xander chasing Buffy and Willow chasing Xander. You know, this kind of like people being friend zoned and stuff. I quite like that little payoff in the friend zoning things that you get later.
I think maybe that's one of the reasons I don't like Xander initially as well, is because maybe I do identify too much with certain parts of his character that I don't like about myself.
Wow, that is so deep.
Oh, really? See, that's what I think. That's what I think I'm noticing because there's bits that he's doing. I'm like, I would have done that as a teenager. I wouldn't do it now because I'm so cool, but as a teenager, I would have done that.
Yeah, you definitely did. But yeah, so they're at the cheerleading tryouts, and we see this girl doing the splits, and Xander's just like a mad perv. Which I guess actually I could.
To be fair, for that time, that was quite tame.
You were pretending that seeing scantily clad girls in revealing postures was a spiritual experience.
I said I was pretending.
Like,
yes, I mean, then I think of some of the things that I did at that age.
Oh yeah, no, I even mean just for television. Like that was quite for male gaze pondering girls doing the splits. It could have been worse. To be fair, because at least you couldn't see anything. Usually, it's a girl bending over tying her shoelaces with straight legs, which no one ever does. But yet, in movies where men are directing, it's like a thing that women do all the time. I've never seen happen.
Yeah, I can't fucking tie my shoelace unless I take it off and bring it up in the fucking. So we see this girl and she's doing a great cheerleading routine, Amber. This is where we see how serious cheerleading is in Sunnydale, and they're all like, oh, she trained with Benson, and they make this kind of joke.
Who does she think she is, a Laker girl? I heard she turned them down.
So this is great. We see this girl dancing, and it's like to Two Unlimited, like one of the Two Unlimited like proper rave songs. It's
that's sort of like
with the big woos.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I love those screams. And Amber's hands go on fire.
It's just called Amber, and she goes on fire.
Willow's like, that girl's on fire, and Cordelia's just like,
enough for the hyperbole.
That was quite good. She gets the killer lines every time, though. To be fair,
yeah,
she gets the
really
title every time.
She's got a lot of great. That's all we'll say in every episode. She's got a lot of great lines.
She's the best, the absolute best.
I just love how in this universe, some girl randomly exploding on fire is not newsworthy.
Yeah.
It's not deemed. No one's freaking out. The school wasn't closed. Parents weren't coming on and going, how the fuck was my child on fire? No. It's like, oh my God, back to practice.
Rapidly losing his grip on reality.
It's like us doing choir and someone exploding. You'd be like, clean that up and great, get back up there. Got it. You know what I mean?
Actually, I mean, Miss Mitchell literally would be like,
raging that you're on fire.
The show must go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we get the great theme at this point. This is our... Was it a cold open? It was a cold open. This is our sort of cold open into the theme.
Oh, the cold open.
Cold open.
Cold open.
Cold open. Cold open.
Cold open.
Cold open.
Cold open.
Cold open. That there's some sort of voodoo-esque witchery on the go.
Yes.
I think you go down witch over voodoo because there's no...
Sunnydale's very white. So there there probably isn't going to be a lot of deep voodoo.
Which is pretty much the whitest place on earth.
The gang are in the library, and they're talking about the possibilities and what could have happened, and Giles is very excited about the possibility of spontaneous combustion.
Pardon me for finding the glass half full.
Is this also our sort of first? This becomes thematic, doesn't it? This little something bad happens, we cut to the library.
Yeah, this is their
hub,
head of operations.
Mm-hmm. No one ever uses that library apparently, and no one ever seems to go to class.
But they do kind of make a joke about that at one point when people come into the library, and Giles is like, "What do you want?" Like, we're here for books. Like, oh yeah. So we've already met Amy at the trials, and we've heard Willow say,
You lost a lot of weight.
and she was saying she trains with her mom. So we've already started to build that dynamic of like, okay, so Amy's mom is really pushing for her to be in the cheerleading team.
Mm-hmm.
Like a drug pusher? Probably.
Which, bit of a low goal, to be honest, but
I know.
you
Do you not remember like high school, like in school, secondary school, high school, like it was the most important thing in your life. It's really hard when I'm talking to any of my nieces and nephews, like whenever they're talking like, look in school, I'll do that, and I like it really. I promise you, it really doesn't matter when they get out of school, but it does in that time. Their whole world is school.
Giles is the Miss Mitchell of the show, and they're all getting notes from Giles to not have to go to PE.
Yeah.
Thinking back to that now, like that was a real like actual saving grace, like because PE was a really hard, horrific experience for fatties and secret gays.
Gay, totally gay.
Yeah, I hated like the fact that you had to have. It's quite weird when you think about it. The fact that you had to have a shower in front of everyone.
I like because girls' showers. I don't know whether this may be a cultural thing, but here in Northern Ireland, in the boys' changing rooms, it was just big open showers. But in the girls' changing rooms, they had cubicles. I would have smelled great in school if I had cubicles.
Oh my god, yes, I would have been just showering for a laugh.
Yeah,
Sharon.
You could still do that to this day, Tony.
That's my drag name, Sharon, for a laugh. But this is when we actually get into a wee bit of the Buffy's relationship with her mom. So she goes kind of home after school, and she's tries to have a wee conversation with her. She's telling her, that she was cheerleading, but Joyce is like distracted, obviously, by all these boxes she's got in the kitchen from the gallery that she's trying to get open. So Buffy's trying to talk to her, and Joyce is very, like, oh yeah, you were doing, sorry, what was it, like some sort of sport?
Some activity? I have no idea. I'm sorry.
You can kind of see in Buffy's face, it's kind of a wee bit sad. Like she's trying to
have a relationship with her mom, and she's just not giving her anything. And it's something that isn't Vampire Slayer stuff. It's stuff that you can actually like, look, I'm doing good. I'm going to school, blah, blah, blah.
Buffy's trying to tell her, like, oh, I was doing something for school. And she was like, oh, are you in trouble? She's like, no, I'm not in trouble. And Buffy's mom was like, no, not yet.
Oh, yeah, that was a wee dig, wasn't it? Wee dicky dig.
So you could see Buffy was a wee bit.
But also we have the comic-y, the funny sort of bit, the sort of tongue-in-cheek part where you can clearly see her mom's not paying attention because the whole time through that opening of the scene, she's trying to crowbar that box open, and Buffy walks over and lifts it with one finger, and it's like, and the mom doesn't even notice. It's like but I just in my sort of head, and I think we talked about this in the first couple of episodes, I've created some sort of lore where the Hellmouth means that people just aren't we talked about this, that people just aren't as observant. They're just not paying attention to things that are like, if like there is some sort of thing where they're not going, oh my god, that wee girl's on fire, we should maybe investigate this. It's like, okay, everyone back to school tomorrow, or even later that day. So anyway, but I quite like that episode. That little scene was great. It was quite short, but it was really concise, and you completely got their relationship.
Cheapers.
I think there's also like the aspect of like Buffy is doing this to have a normal life, but her mom ends up kind of saying to her like, oh, you started cheerleading right before you got in trouble last time. It's like, so it's not even actually what her mom would want her to be doing, and Buffy's kind of went out of her way to try and do something she felt like would be normal.
What her mom would want,
it does set up that dynamic of like, when you just like, oh, you just can't win.
Yeah. And it's the worst feeling with your parents whenever it's like, it's very good. It's really well written.
Yeah. Do you remember when I came out the first time, and then I went away to be a big Christian missionary? So then when I was going to come out the second time, I said, well, this will be way easier. How wrong that was.
Why was it harder the second time? I can't remember.
It just then my mum and dad just did not take it as well. I think also because I had been doing all my Christian stuff and I was quite like accomplished in that world, that they were very proud of the work that I was doing.
A Christian church.
And you weren't gay, which was also really ironically proud.
We're getting deep.
I don't even really think it was. Well, yeah, it definitely was related to that they didn't have to deal with me being gay, but I think it's also because they knew for them it was like life was easy for me because I was good at that. And the gay thing kind of just always represented a harder life, you know, a path that was harder. And to be fair, they were right, because obviously that came out and I moved to America to be with and, you know, that went great.
Daddy, I love him!
And so and it's obviously, yeah, just this is where you kind of see, and I can kind of understand Buffy's mum a wee bit more now, being older, being like, she obviously does just want the best for Buffy, but she can recognize, well, this is what you started doing before the last time. And I think as we're not wired to obviously see those patterns when we're younger, so it was quite interesting being able to think about it.
And also, if we're really going to go down this rabbit hole, her mum's a person too. Buffy can't just walk in and expect her mum to drop everything and be like, she also had to move cities because her daughter, regardless of whether or not we know that she's a vampire slayer and did good things, but she's just a wee dick that set fire to her last school and always has these problems with school. So, I mean, she's kind of lived up to her mum's opinion. So, well, like, I kind of get, yeah, maybe as an older person, I get that we're kind of on the side of Buffy and her mum's being a dick, but at the same time, I'm also like, you just walked into the room and expected your mum's attention. That's like, hey, we're dead. Hang on, she's busy. You know what I mean?
And Joyce does very briefly mention that it's for the gallery's first major display. Buffy doesn't really ask her any questions about it, so it's.
But that's also showing that selfish teenager thing.
That's it. That's exactly it. So we get into like the next day in school, and there's more cheerleading trials, and Amy, they're doing group work, and Amy does a cartwheel and knocks over Cordelia, and you get some. That was me, right?
You saw that, right?
You know that was me, right?
Right?
That was so good.
That was good. That girl's Amy was her acting was very good in this. I believed her ineptitude.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know how she even got that far to the group work, because
she's shy. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's shy. I take Willow quicker. Yeah. Yes, and then this is setting us up for our next victim. Or no, that's not actually our next victim.
It's about to. Well, this is actually where we see Buffy and Amy outside the trophy case, and this is where we find out that Amy's mom was like this big award-winning cheerleader.
That's right.
Catherine the Great.
Catherine the Great.
Not to be confused with Catherine the Great.
I always get them two mixed up. From season 1, episode 3, Catherine the Great,
and like the Russian Revolution, and this is where we kind of get a bit more of an idea of the controlling type relationship. I think that exists.
And the actor, I think, is doing a good job. Wait, I'm just going to mention the twist. The twist is Freaky Friday, the mum is the daughter. But is the mum the daughter the whole time? Is this where she's been the daughter the whole time?
Yes. I think from the implication of like, oh, you lost so much weight, and the fact that she's trying to get into cheerleading.
Oh, right, okay.
Clear your throat. Lubricate. Now read that bitch.
She's shite. I believed her ineptitude. It's just the fact that she's still bad at it. She's blaming her daughter's body. She's shite, even though her mum was a champion cheerleader. Muscle memory's a thing. She's shite. Fatty, shite. Body. Fatty. Yada 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 yada.
I could transfer my brain into Usain Bolt, but I probably would still not be able to run.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if that's true. I guess we'll have to find out.
No, there's technique. Yes, I guess it would be like saying, like playing guitar. I can play guitar, but if I was to go into someone else's body, I wouldn't necessarily have the muscle memory with just thinking of the chord of E, and then my finger knows where to go. Whereas, anyway, we're way down a rabbit hole. I'm very sorry, folks. That got very boring. That'll get cut out. Don't worry.
No, it won't.
So Amy's having a pure meltdown, just being like, I'll never be able to live up to my mum's massively high cheerleading ability, and cut to fucking bring it on. You think they were doing flips and like doing all this stuff? They're literally dabbing.
But I think that's unfair on our part, because cheerleading has come on so much. But to us, cheerleading at that time was just wee girls throwing pom poms in the air.
Well, anyone should have been able to do that.
Yeah, but you have to
Literally,
also look like a cheerleader, I think.
I was doing the routine as it was going along.
And I can't get my body to move like hers.
You're doing very well. You're very good at it.
You did fine.
But this is Willow comes along and she kind of tells Buffy that they were friends like during junior high, and Willow kind of tells her that her mom was like emotionally abusive.
Her mom's kind of
Nazi-like.
Heil.
And how she would bully her about her weight and would withhold food.
She gains an ounce. She padlocks the fridge and won't eat anything but broth.
What a horrible fucker.
It can be said in this runaway comment by Will, but it's actually like really quite horrific and deep.
Because it's
like,
starting from an early age then. So middle school's what, like 10, 11, 12 kind of age, is it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So that's quite young, like prepubescent to just hitting puberty kind of age.
Just that kind of abuse for being, I mean,
not good enough. Yeah, from your mom. Yeah.
Which is meant for, especially for being fat, as two fatties.
I know, fucking hell.
Actually, I probably could have done with my mum and dad bullying me about my
No, I wish the fuck my parents said, like, you're a fat fuck, here, take 50p and go get yourself from the shop. Being a good boy. Like, cheers. Thank you for sealing the good things with food. That means when I feel bad, I will use food for good things. No.
And do you not think, like, being older now, this might be far too deep a thing to say, but feeling like, oh, maybe slightly not rejected by parents, but maybe sometimes not.
I have this thing that our parents' generation will be known as the most spoiled generation ever, because they came out post-war, so there was no war. They also were during their boomers because it was during their baby boomers, but there was a huge boom in the Western world. It was rich. Everyone got a house for cheap. Everyone got free medicine, free universities, free education. They got milk every time they went into school. They were given everything on a plate. This is why they're so spoiled now as adults, as like old people. When things don't go their way, they scream and cry.
I think they're spoiled about my parents.
I think that I just mean generally that, like, if you think about it, our parents are like a lot of that generation are all talk about how hardworking they are, but I work about 3 jobs. Or if I'm grifting and I am, you know what I mean? It's like my mum went and worked as a dinner lady in quite a good school and got paid quite a decent amount of money for it.
Yeah.
You get paid the same amount of money as in the actual same number as you probably did back then. It's just your money's worth less. I generally think, and I mean this in a general sweeping statement, and especially when in Northern Ireland you're from a country in conflict, you have parents whose their parents would just bury their heads in the sand, pretend nothing was happening, which means there's no emotional support whatsoever. Whereas I think our generation of parents is providing much more emotional support.
I feel like my parents were held over maybe from, well, how old are your mum and dad actually?
My mum's 58 or 60.
See, my mum and dad are both 72.
Oh, see, they'd be a little bit older, so they might have have been around rationally times.
Because what you were saying about like the generation before dug their head in this, that's very much my experience of my parents.
No,
but
same.
as I've got older, I've kind of looked at it as like, oh God, I never thought about what they must have been just having to go through to work and to someone be home for the kids and take the kids to school. I'm literally like, oh my God, making sure I get out with the dogs like once or twice a day.
But it's a different world though, because like I do think it was different because your money went further. Like everything, you were just wealthier. You had more money. Even if you didn't have the more amount of money, your money was worth more. Yeah. So you could go to the shop with £1, you can't get anything. But I could have went to the shop and had a full fucking afternoon's worth of sweets with £1. And that's one of those old people things to say. And I know
especially as we were getting into like our early, well, I guess the last time Labour was and we both had like teenage jobs.
Yes, garages and like picking up glasses,
Chinese and cafes and
KFC. I used to be in. I'm actually sweating. Can I open my windows here a wee second?
Yeah, of course.
2 wee seconds. Sorry, I'm actually. Yeah. I did Ozempic. I used Ozempic for weight loss last year, and I lost about 7.5 stone, which is about 80 or 90 pounds or so. I think getting there to about 100 pounds. Nah, not there. Yeah, but 70 or 80 pounds.
It's 84 pounds.
84 pounds. Thank you, Tony. So I lost about 84 pounds last year leading up to my wedding. And then Ozempic's expensive and I couldn't afford it anymore and I came off it and I put about 2 stone on. The thing that I noticed first when I came off Ozempic was how cold I was because I just didn't have these layers of fat. But because I put weight on again, I'm just warm again. And I think I'm still adjusting to the fact that I just am carrying more fat around my body and I'm just sweating all the fucking time.
That's exactly the same as me since I stopped taking drugs. And since I've been like clean for 3 months, I'm just like, I'm fatter and I'm warmer.
Yeah.
And like, I literally haven't slept under a duvet in about 4 months.
Look, my glasses are steaming up. They're literally steaming up at the sweat on my face because I'm so
To be
warm.
fair, though, your house is roasting, so go open a window. Oh my God. Please let me put that in.
I can't hear you. 1 second.
Oh my God.
I actually just wanted to take my jumper off for a second. It's so fucking hot. Anyway.
So then Cordelia's starting in Amy, and she literally has a bobble on her wrist that she takes off, throws over the locker, and then slams the locker door and walks out. And then it's so dramatic.
It's one of those things that gets taken the piss out of, and like not another teen movie. You know what I mean? Like it seems like really bad, but what would have happened in a proper school is she'd have punched her in the face. But it's like and like takes off her bobble and throws it and slams it. It's just so like, but I love it because that's what makes it so pastiche. I kind of love it.
It would have been like fair dig.
Dick. And then that is setting us up now.
Melissa trailing there or someone outside of school.
Yeah, she can fight like fuck. I'm doing her mum's 60th birthday, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
I know.
Yeah, so like something I posted, I think it was the AI picture of me and you as Willow and Buffy.
Is this where my fucking, if we had a segment, it'll be Dave's pet peeve, and I have one for this episode. One that's like, I know it like blah blah blah, plot. I get that, but sometimes I'm like, no, stupid shit really does my head in. Has she gone blind yet?
No. We get a little bit more exposition of Sandra wanting to know, asking Willow if Buffy was wearing the bracelet. Completely skip over that part. It was doing my head in.
I actually did find that like really weak. That little felt really forced in. Yeah, let's skip that stupid bit.
Yeah.
The only payoff, I think that's only in there so that Xander gets friend zoned. Just for Buffy when she's all loopy later on, I think
because this is where Xander essentially friend zones Willow.
Yeah, and I remember that being such a significant thing at the time. I don't think friend zone is. I don't know. I'd have to talk to teenager, but I don't think friend zoning is such a big thing now because it's a completely different way of dating in this world. But back then, friend zoning was such a
especially for these two best friends that have been like best friends their whole life.
And wee horny Willow wants to stick a flute up his urethra.
Yeah, it would have been like me trying to go with Jillian Mellon. Although I think we did just one time.
Of course you did. You always do.
Well, when we won the dancing competition at the Women's Centre in the village, and we went and saw Jumanji as a date.
Did she lead?
Probably.
Jumanji as a date, so cute.
No, I was the natural, but we had to go with a chaperone. It was like, I think it was Shirley from Benberg Street. Don't know why I remember that.
Your memory, though. Your hair's looking great. Her looks really luscious.
You're looking great. But this is where we find out that Cordelia made the team. And we find out that Amy is the first alternate, and Xander, being the absolute dickhead that he is, he's like, well done, you're first alternate. And he finds out that means she didn't make the team.
Right, okay.
And that's when Buffy tries to be nice to her, and she's all like, this weekend, brownie pig out at my house, because she heard that, which is actually really quite triggering, because Willow had told her that she used to like pig out and brownies all the time.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like you being like, oh, Tony, come on over and watch Buffy, and we'll take tons of
Do you want it?
Oh my God, I would actually love to.
No, you have this thing where you can't help but have this sarcastic tone to your voice when you're being sincere, which is so odd because when you're being sarcastic, you put a really sincere tone in your voice. It's like you've mixed them up.
I'm basically like the Belfast version of Courtney Kardashian. But yeah, so Buffy tries to trigger Amy's eating disorder by saying here, let's eat a mega fuck ton of brownies.
Love that. She's trying to be nice.
Yeah, just trying to get a wee sleepover at her house. And also maybe kind of shows that Buffy's actually really nice.
Yeah, she's lovely. This is the thing I've noticed, like in the first episode, Willow's being bullied. Buffy stood up for Willow. And like this is another person being bullied. So she stands up for she is the champion for the week. I quite like that you see that throughout her whole character and not just in vampires. Throughout her whole character instead of just in just like that she fight vampires. It's like she isn't. She's actually a wholly good. There is a reason why she is the vampire slayer. Do you know what I mean? Which I always
she's a good person morally as well.
Which is a good question coming up later on when there's different characters that I'm like, well, why would they become? Because you know what I mean.
That's so big. Oh yes, I get what you mean.
Yes.
But then basically Amy's just like, nah, not having any of it, and it just isn't happening for her. And this is when we cut to, you know, a house that's got its window boarded up, and there's a cauldron with some green soup bubbling away. I love that it's this real stereotype of like witchcraft.
I'm down for it. Especially now we've had 20 years basically of them trying not to do it that way. This is why I'm looking forward to Agatha, because it will actually just be proper witchy witch lore. I'm down for it.
And it kind of plays more into the series. I think it was purposely done that way because at later stages they kind of make
Play
fun
on
of
it.
the stereotypes. But yeah,
they can. I get it. Like that, if she is an old, like it's the mother basically, so she's an old witch. Like that is what they would do. I don't know. I believe that it didn't take me out of it. Didn't think about it.
Yes, we see this nice, lovely manicured French tip hand yank one of these Barbies dressed up as cheerleaders, like off these hooks, and wrap Cordelia's bauble around it.
Yes, around her head specifically,
and shove it in the cauldron. Actually, this just led me to think about something that I think is I just have realized. I think every act break starts with Buffy going into the kitchen with her mum in the morning time.
Oh, right, okay.
Because this time Buffy's going in and this is when Buffy's mum's telling her about like the yearbook, and Buffy's like, well, the news just then, I'm not you. Buffy's mum's trying to encourage her to do something.
That's right. She was trying to make her be like her in school, and Buffy's like, no, well, whereas you've got again that juxtaposition, because her mum doesn't make her not eat brownies and call her fat witch or whatever. She's like, okay, no problem. You know, she just takes it to chin.
Yeah, well, they have a little bit of an argument where Joyce says, you know, like we had to move here because it was in the school that would like take you, basically, yes. And then Buffy has to go to school. What an awful, horrific way to have to just start your day.
Whatever it is, got you kicked out of school, and we had to move here to find a decent school that would take you.
So
sets her up.
It's kind of like setting the tone of like, oh, they're trying. You can see they're trying to communicate, but it's just like it's not happening.
Yeah.
And then that's when we kind of cut to school, and Xander's continuing to talk about his crush on fucking Buffy and is doing my tits in. And Cordelia's like
being all weird
about,
and
like, hello. Just spaced out of her nut.
And then we can get that Buffy Spidey sense where she's like, "What's wrong with Cordelia?" Like,
yeah,
she can tell something's up, which I quite like that too. That she can tell when something's not right.
She can tell something's wrong. But I love that it comes in the form of, is that even Cordelia's locker?
That's how out of place it is.
Yeah, and this is where we see Cordelia kind of getting into the car for her driver's ed class, and she's like, I don't want to drive today. And the guy's like, well, if you don't show me some moves, you're going to have to take the bus to college, which, excuse me, but it's better to have less cars on the road. Don't add to pollution. Get the bus where you can. Get it even cycle to work scheme.
Captain Planet, motherfucker.
Yeah, California, everyone drives because everything's so far.
Everything's so far apart. That's right.
Yeah. It's like New York. You don't drive because you're in the city. There's no point. There's nowhere to park the car.
Yeah.
These are all real stereotypes coming from two Irishmen. So, like, if there's any Americans listening going like, how dare you stereotype? Imagine us talking about potatoes and vodka. Yes, we love potatoes and vodka. So.
Well, I lived in California for a while, so...
Yeah, but you're a tourist. You're just a tourist pretending to be a Christian.
No, I wasn't. I was a Christian pretending to be a tourist. How dare you?
How dare you? This is where I need to talk about. This has pissed me off. Cordelia goes blind and immediately puts her foot in the accelerator and starts trying to steer the car. That is the worst. I get it. They've established that she's a terrible driver, but it's like, fuck. And why is that everyone's instinct? This is a trope that happens in all TV shows. People suddenly go blind and their instinct is to put their foot in the accelerator. Also, people who are accelerating and the brake doesn't work and slamming on the brake and it doesn't work, continue to accelerate, because if you take your foot off the accelerator in an automatic car, it would slow down. It does my head in. It's one of those things. It's like,
but I think this is because it's an automatic. Because I've definitely done this where it's like you don't have the choice of like the clutch and the gears. So I think that would make you slow down in a manual car, because you would have to think about speeding up and changing gears to facilitate that. Whereas if you just kind of panic and your foot slams,
yeah, but
down,
they don't use gears, so they only know of go and stop.
That's what I mean.
No, no way. I suppose there's no way that I can't see anything that put my foot on the accelerator, or even just take your foot off the accelerator. Then you're a fight. Shite driver.
I know, but your foot is so well. To be fair, she was learning, and my experience that I'm talking about was within my first year, and I just had like panicked and put my foot on the accelerator. And
For how
because it was
long? For how long?
For a good speeding up moment.
Yeah, for a moment. Did you continue to crash through things? And that's what I mean. I mean, we've all made the mistake where we tap the accelerator. But did you? This is my point. So you didn't crash. Look, you cannot convince me. There's no way arguing around this. You don't fucking continue putting. Even if she took her foot off the accelerator, the car. This is my other trope. This is my other problem. Whenever people's brakes stop working and their car continues accelerating, if you drive an automatic car and you take your foot off the accelerator, the car slows down because you don't have to do gears, so it will slow down to gears. I just never understand it. It's just one of those pet peeves. Just one of those things that every movie does. It's like silencers and guns. There's no such thing. People tell you that. People who are armorists will say that a silencer doesn't work. It will make it instead of 150 decibels, it'll just make it 120. That's what a silencer does. It stops you going deaf or something. I could be completely wrong, but it's that movie thing that they do that really pisses me off.
Presenting like I may be completely wrong, but I'm presenting it as a complete fact unless someone tells me it's wrong.
I'm presenting it as opinion, not fact, so I could be wrong.
No,
but this is
there's no way of you talking around this. You would not do that. But I did.
That's all I'm saying. It's not specific to Cordelia. Calm down. We're not challenging Cordelia.
Yes.
It's specific to TVs and movie tropes that you get from America that I'd never understood. Whenever the car's out of control, people continue to do it. It's one of those things that piss me off.
Sure, Jan.
Well, to quote your wife, picking apart the driving skills of someone in a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer is maybe not the same.
But no, I hate that argument.
She doesn't know how to drive. She might be trying to stop and just not knowing.
And there's I get the plot. I wish you could have went blind. No problem. I just don't believe the person can continue accelerating. Oh, they don't have wheels. The driving instructor. The exact reason. It's even driving instructor cars. They have pedals, no wheel. Sorry. There's my rant. That's our first argument, Tony. Our first little disagreement on the podcast. It's just I am opinionated, but I'm happy if someone tells me I'm wrong. There's something about that silencer thing, but I've heard that fact before that silencers don't work.
Oh God, not this again.
Something I did when I was in America when I was younger was I was driving a quad bike and I was driving towards someone and I was trying to slow down, but I accidentally was speeding up and I flew over the handlebars and broke my arm.
Yeah, so all you're telling me is that you're an idiot, but it's not telling me. I just still think it's a terrible trope.
I'm just letting you know.
I think it's lazy writing.
What is wrong with you? Stop it!
I think it's lazy writing. I think it's not lazy writing. I just think it's just such a, maybe it's a trope of its time, and I've gotten sick of it now at this point. Okay. So maybe at that time it was a new thing. But
we are two people with two different opinions, and
that's the point of having both of us.
That just goes to show, if out of the two of us, one of us can be like, that's totally something that I would do or have done, and the other one isn't, there's probably a lot more people that you would think.
We will find out soon enough as people vehemently tell me how wrong I am.
I hope. I mean, I remember waving at Fiona and while she was driving her car, and she just started, and as she waved, she like
yeah. But I'm talking about
crash up. I know what you're talking about.
But they're all in wee moments. Everyone's made wee moment mistakes. I'm talking about she's driving for honestly a minute and a half, and I'm like, did no one? But then again, someone went and fired, and they're still in school the next day. So I guess I for some reason can believe that quicker than I can believe the fact that no one would have stopped to drive. It's pedantry. It is just me being a bit of a dick about it, but I guess that's the point. I don't want to just sit and be a wee loving. I want to challenge it a little bit sometimes.
So then we see Cordelia go flying through the school gate, which that would also not happen because the physics of those gates, the interlocking chains. Anyway,
maybe it would. It happened to me one time.
Why are you always such a nasty bitch?
She gets out of the car and she's stumbling around, and not only does the UPS driver not see her, he speeds up.
Yeah, he does. He hates that bitch.
You see him loads like looking at her, and Cordelia's just standing there, and he literally puts his foot down as if he's gone blind.
Doesn't stop after the fact. You know what I mean? Like sees two girls. Yes. Yeah, that's another one of those things that pisses me off. But again,
and just to clarify, Buffy saves Cordelia right before she gets hit.
She does.
What's happening? I can't see anything.
Cut straight away to the group kind of being able to see. Giles kind of says,
witchcraft.
Oh, it's a very classic tactic for witches to blind the
victims.
Mm-hmm. So this is where they come up with the idea to do a spell to see if she's a witch, and it requires getting some of Amy's hair. So then we have this great scene of Buffy being like, which one's the hydrochloric acid and which one's the whatever? And she fake drops her troll pen.
Love Love to see the troll pen. Love to see the troll top. It's not the pen. The pen's just the pen. Troll top. Love to see it.
I was
Proper
gonna say, if you love
90s.
to see a troll top, you should see some of my ex-boyfriend. Even Abe's laughing at that one. He's just laughing. Honestly.
So yes, you go through the exposition. She's in the thing, drops it, pulls the thing off the thing.
It takes about 8.5 minutes to pull her out of her brush.
Yeah, yes. So I'm actually getting in frantic mode.
Which is a bit mean to see. Like, her brush is just sitting in her open bag with all that mad clumped hair.
I know, I never understood that. And then even the way I kind of love the way she spells it. And it's like she's already said hydrochloric acid and just spells it on her arm. It's like...
And so they take her and they put it into the beaker. Was this the first time we see the group do a spell?
Yeah.
Willow does a wee spell, her first spell ever.
Her first spell.
Yes, they mix up the witch spell and then they literally fuck it all over her. It's literally me with a glass of red wine over your mum's sofa.
White, brand new sofa. I remember that well. Yes, it spells it on her arm. Really.
Oh my
just talked
God.
about. I don't get that. But she's just talked about hydrochloric acid, and no one really panics. But then no one really panics because it's happening over in the corner.
Oh yes, that's right. Well, first I was just going to mention the fact that Xander doesn't have like the guts literally to cut out the eye of the frog. I guess it's an eye of newt they need for the spell. Willow just like pops it in, but just kind of I like that constitution about Willow. And Amy looks like you're saying, she looks shocked because she's just had this mixture spelt on her and her skin's turning blue, and then all yours.
Sorry.
Her name's Lashane, and her mouth has disappeared in a wonderful, wonderful practical.
I liked it. I thought it was great. Love practical effects. Thought it looked great. Looked really frightening.
Yeah,
not frightening. Do you know what I mean?
It would be quite scary just to have no mouth.
Wow, that's very observant.
That does freak me out loads. And also, I always have like a blocked up nostril, so I feel like I wouldn't be able to breathe very well.
Yeah, I totally get you. Sorry for getting weird. Yeah, have you tried Sudafed? So we see Amy, she's at home and she says to her mum, like, oh, I've got a history report due tomorrow. Write it. And then she's like, Buffy and her little friends are trying to find out if I'm a witch.
Twist. This is where we all figure out the twist.
I didn't figure out the twist yet here.
At that point, I figured out the twist at the way earlier on in the episode whenever they were talking about the mum thing. I just was like, they're giving so much detail about Amy's life. I was like, which is just unfair I've just picked up on... Like, do you know when you watch CSI, you always know who the bad person is because they give you a tiny bit more context in their life than you normally get.
And it's always the new character new to the episode because they don't have any.
Or sometimes in the future is a really famous person, so it was a really talented actor that was found quite young. I quite like that. Whenever you're watching an episode of something, it's like, oh my God, there's a really famous person. But like Amy Adams, for example, in The Office, and she's playing
Amy Adams is also in Buffy.
No way.
I hope you'll all be happy hanging out with a disgusting demon.
See, I didn't pick up on the fact yet that the twist that had happened because I felt like it just went to show that she was under so much pressure from her mum that she turned to witchcraft.
Oh, right, okay.
And it wasn't until later when we see the very obvious exposition of, like...
I got it from that bit. I got it from her, like... I don't know why, because she's not scared of her mum.
When I was 11,
sorry, you mean originally, of course.
Yeah. I was a dumb bitch.
You don't know how to stop your car, apparently. You just keep accelerating, hoping that you just get around to the place at the end of the side of the world.
Bored now.
Buffy wakes up this time and she goes into the kitchen and she's acting a wee bit kind of loopy and she's about to enter serious diarrheaville when she downs 2 glasses of pure orange.
That's fair. That looked great though, the pure orange. Why is it that she's loopy again?
Because a spell has been done to her. We don't know about it yet.
But is that what happens when you get spelled on? You go loopy first before the effect hits you?
Well, so this is what Giles tells us when they find out that she has had a spell put on her. It's a bloodstone vengeance spell, which hits the body like a quart of alcohol. So it's kind of like she is getting statement.
Okay, fair enough. So she is just jolly drunk.
Like she's having like mad alcohol poisoning,
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting worse during the day, which we obviously see when she's in cheerleading practice and she's acting statement. And and she throws the girl across the room.
Is it me or is Buffy a bit looped?
Can I just say Sarah Michelle Gellar is fucking brilliant at doing this part. I think like she's so funny. Like she's very I never realized, I don't think I've ever appreciated that actually Sarah Michelle Gellar is a really, really good actor. Like she's a brilliant. Really, really good actor. Like because I really believe that she's like in that character. I really believe her. I'm never taken out whenever Sarah Michelle Gellar, even Willow's on the screen. They know it takes me out sometimes a little bit Xandery, but I think he will settle into it because I do remember some episodes later on where I don't have a problem with him. So I think it's just that early on figuring out that character thing. Once he stops being this little love dog for Buffy, then it'll be like we could start developing him as a person. Class.
But yeah, Buffy's throwing that sexy angry cheerleader across the room.
Yeah, before she hurts someone.
Yeah, that was really funny. It was also like very not the best done, but I kind of loved it too because it was because it's so easy for her. Like she's just, and they've also established that she is that strong and she's having to play it down all the time because when she opens that box so easily way earlier on, that's sort of, again, very clever from Joss Whedon to show her strength early on. Yeah. Without any reason to, but really
just having to hold back. It just shows that she does have to hold back in her everyday life.
An interesting thing.
Because she could be an amazing athlete if she wanted.
Yes, I quite like the scene. I like the bit, sorry, I don't know where you're going to, but the bit where they're walking down the corridor and they're carrying Buffy. And Buffy pure friend zone Xander in this lovely way as well. And like seeing Willow's wee face was also quite good.
You're not like other boys at all.
Well,
you are totally and completely one of the girls. I'm that comfy with him.
I love just beforehand where literally the angry sexy girl was like, "You're off the team. Who's the next alternate?" Oh, it's Amy, and she's standing right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, very good, yes.
And then Buffy's like, "You don't want her."
She's a woman.
A wise choice indeed.
Then we are straight into the kind of the main effects of this spell. So Buffy is starting to look absolutely wrong.
Mm-hmm. Good makeup too. She looks rotten. Like she does look sick.
And I remember they're saying, just where Jan says it hits the body hard like a quart of alcohol. And I was like, when we were 16, quart of alcohol, that would be like breakfast.
Bottle of vodka. That's a liter bottle of something. Fuck off.
That would be us going to school
tonight. I know. Doing our GCSEs.
Yeah, not that we're looking for a sponsor from Thompson's or anything, but that would have been what we pre-swallowed before we went to Thompson.
Yeah, I'd love to get sponsored by Thompson's.
No, that would be so weird. I'd literally sit here and drink all the time. I just discovered this week as well, by the way, that there's an alcohol-free WKD Blue.
No way.
Yeah.
Isn't that just blue juice? Is it not like Vizid?
It probably is, but I'm hoping to get sponsorship from them. This is where Giles kind of does the exposition of saying he can break all of the Amy's spells if he can get to her spellcasting book.
Yes, this is where we're getting to her house.
And Giles kind of barges in and he's like, "Your daughter has got her absolutely steaming. Look at her, she's literally ruled off." Like, "Oh, well, kids today."
Quite like that.
And then Buffy sees the triggering plate of brownies on the floor.
Yes.
And that's when she's like, "Amy?
Are you Amy?
All the boys and all the girls are begging to if you're seeking me.
Amy?"
I quite like that. And she did look like shit too when she's doing that bit.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And then that's when we find out that one morning Amy woke up in the body of her ma. Been there.
Good. Been there. I've woke up in the body of your ma. Yeah.
That's what I was. Oh, shame they didn't have episode. That was a bit
too far. No joking. He's married with a child now, so
that's okay. It's still no, I wouldn't do that to him. Giles breaks into the attic and sees the cauldron.
This is it.
They bring everything to the school.
Yeah.
Because I really loved that thing of when how you knew the mum and the daughter were changing bodies, which is a really cheap way to do this. I thought it was very clever. Was just her suddenly seeing through her original eyes and seeing Buffy and seeing the thing. So that meant that she knew where to, sorry, I'm probably getting ahead, but I loved that then she knew where to go with her. She had a real dander, didn't she?
Oh, like she had an absolute dander. She literally had like a fucking twin brook dander.
Yeah, I loved it too. And she runs into Xander and Willow.
Xander and Dander. Yeah, because she's on the top of the pyramid while they start to do the spells. So that's why she gets all wobbly and falls off, and then she gets actually sexy evil cheerleader. Like,
yes, and everyone goes, oh, because she's just one dirty look and like, oh.
Yeah.
I loved it. To be fair, it was a good dirty look.
Yeah, that was such a dirty look. You can make dirty look. I definitely think this show at this stage would be so good to dub into like the
pure milled out ones.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
So then we see Willow's trying to distract her in the hallway. And she's like, "I can help you with your witch stuff. Like, I know this really good cauldron."
I quite like that. I thought that was so funny. She's so good at that.
Yeah, she's like, "Do you actually ride a broom?"
I heard that too. I thought it was funny.
And then we see
Amy. Sanders trying to sneak up, isn't he?
Yeah, and Amy just Darth Vader's him. Oh, I love it. I love stuff like that. I think it just also kind of establishes how powerful Amy's mum as a witch actually kind of is. You don't have to over-intellectualize the fact that you don't understand 1996 effects, right?
Okay. Thank you.
You do. That's why you're here, actually. So, and then we get that great special effect of Willow getting punched and that great quality sound.
And also, like, I would love you if you could go back and just, there's a moment where you can actually see
Alison Hannigan's face.
And it's also like, ooh, like she's going like she's always been like turn her head now. Like, ooh. She just looks like a wee rabbit, like caught in the headlights.
Jans is literally doing this spell. We get the intercut scene of them kind of seeing through each other's eyes.
She comes through the same corridor twice, same door.
Yep. Budgets were low. They had a one corridor set.
Digging it though, down for it, don't care. It doesn't bother me that much.
She smashes that sugar glass without getting any blood on her hand or anything,
YOLO.
She got that axe, and Giles is doing the spell, but for some reason he says the word release with a lisp, a really intense.
With a TH at the end, release.
Unless it was maybe the spell was written in like Old English or something.
Oh, like release. Is that what he screams when he's releasing himself?
Release. Yeah, if you've got a migraine, you're looking for some relief.
Release. No, I think it's whenever you want to make a change in your life and you turn over to relief.
So it's whenever you've been annoyed by your sister and you just want her to relieve you alone. Like it's whenever you recycle your previous Christmas decorations and you Sorry, I said that all wrong in my head.
I heard it reread. I get it.
We did it.
One of my favorite singers, first female in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. By the way, it was Aretha Franklin. Relief for Franklin. Relief for Franklin.
Relief it.
Well,
I need a doctor actually because I've got a STI and I've got a problem with my urethra.
Really?
Oh god.
We haven't gone down one of those wee alleyways of stupid fucking stuff in ages, like Shoe Lisa. It is the stupidest thing, but it's one of the funniest things that you can do. It went on for years.
Yeah.
Like I remember just like randomly, we maybe hadn't talked in a few months or whatever, and randomly seeing something, and then it would be like, I think I had to sign on one time for the brew, and I was like, on my way to the brew, Lisa.
I literally send you so many voice notes that whenever I think of those things, Aretha Franklin bursts through the door, and she's about to axe Buffy's head off, and
doesn't get
they swap bodies, and I like that you see them just being all disorientated, and then but
the acting is how you know the body swap is happening, and I actually really love that was a show don't tell. They didn't do an effect or make it feel like, and you see like the souls switching bodies. It was just genuinely good. Two good actors changing character in a split second, and the mum, to be fair, I can't remember what her name is, the actor in this episode, but like she is flipping brilliant in this, like, and stunning, gorgeous.
She is incredible at being Amy, being her.
Yeah,
and then she's
incredible being her
as herself.
When she becomes her mum, it is actually a wee bit horrifying. Like she's a bit like
it is scary seeing like an older, because she is to me like a formidable.
Yeah, and I believed her. I believed that she was an evil woman and she was nasty to her child. I was in. I thought the ending was brilliant. And again, I know Buffy does get more complex, but right now you couldn't show episode 5 from season 5 right now because you need to we need to go on that journey with them to then.
Season 5, actually, you really couldn't. But that's just a
Do you know what that is off the top of your head by me just saying that?
That's where you find out that.
No, fuck it. So you'd be like, who the fuck? I remember that. I do remember it because we watched that. I remember you watching that with me, but you had watched it and you're like, you have to fucking watch this.
Yeah. And then, like, because then the monk is like, we made her human and sent her to you in the form of a. Oh my God, that was actually so good. I felt like I was in the scene. I'll have to send it to you. It's like real, so good. Anyway,
I remember that. It was actually really, really. I can't wait to get to that because then it gets really complex. Tony and I just went through a wee spoilery thing there. My point being that I really like the fact that it is simple, but you need it to be simple to get you on board with it. Like they just need to. You have to peel the layer one layer at a time. You can't just dig straight in. You need to do it bit by bit. I'm down for it. It's just when people just put their foot in the accelerator gas and they don't just take their foot off it. It doesn't. I don't understand why. She was a learner. Blah 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 blah. I'm not going back there. We've had this argument already. I thought it was quite an interesting way. It was a very simple way to defeat.
It's world building in a way that it's like obviously not really as a spoiler, but there's a couple of little throwaway references in later seasons to this episode.
Oh, really?
That they're not really spoilers. So we'll get there.
Are they taking the piss out of themselves though? Is it sort of like they're acknowledging
in like season 2, Oz is standing at the trophy and he's like, "Oh, I like that statue. It looks like it's following you, like wherever you."
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I quite like that. That's not a spoiler. I don't mind those things. I don't know who else is, but like,
we haven't got to the point where we're going to tell them that she's being trapped.
But don't forget, everyone has seen this episode. Anyone that's currently listening to us has seen it. They know what happens. We're not spoiling it by giving away the ending. Keep that in mind, my love. Because if somebody has listened to this who's never seen the episode and you're still listening at this point,
oh yeah, I guess
you need to go get a life.
The spell is being cast, and I guess Amy's released, and Buffy pops up behind him. She's like, "I feel better," and then she literally dumps your woman across the room. She kicked her across the room, and then Amy's mum is literally takes the axe from her, and it's brilliant. It's quite a scary moment when she's like,
"How dare you raise your hand to your mother?"
After everything I've done for you, like I gave up my body, and that's what I was like. Oh, all these things she's saying, it's like what my mum writes in a birthday card to me.
The other thing is as well, she took the axe over. Was like, "You left your hand to me." She lifted a fucking axe to you.
Yeah.
Not her hand. She didn't go like you. She fucking had an axe in her hand. It's like, you give me that fucking axe. You left an axe to me.
I gave up my life so you could drag that worthless carcass around and call it living.
I know, she's a horrible fucker. And like, I kind of know that they go really, like, she goes into horrible bitchness so that when she does finally get hit by her own spell, you're like, good.
Yeah.
You deserve that, you bitch.
And I loved it. It's one of my favorite kind of wee moments in Buffy. I've probably said it about a lot of things, but the kind of quickness of her doing that spell and shooting the energy to Buffy and Buffy kicking that kind of mirrored.
Yeah, the thing.
I don't know what that was.
I think it's an extractor fan to take the gases out of the thing. I think that's what it is. I was
Buffy
thinking
just, like kicks that down and it reflects the spell back to her.
It's great. I thought the effects were quite good as well. I thought it was.
Yeah, it was good. It was because it was very.
Or I didn't think about them. Maybe that's a better way.
It wasn't trying to be more than what it.
No, I think that's like, and I do know, I remember just from the few episodes that I've seen that are on throughout the seasons and stuff, like the fight scenes get better.
But actually, Buffy's stunt double for season 1 was also the stunt double of the Pink Power Ranger.
Class. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So then that last spell that she does, she's like, "I'll look upon my enemy, and the dark place will take her." So we knew it's going to be something severe. Anyway,
so where does that spell leave us? Because I actually quite like this ending, but except for the very end of this whole thing, just looks like a really crap Snapchat filter.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
I love it though. Because it looks like a really crap Snapchat filter.
Literally, the effect of me being in the library looks just as good.
Better.
Yeah,
better, more believable. I believe that you're in the library more than I believe that was a real statue with eyes in it. Even though
we catch up with Buffy and Amy in the hallway at school, and Buffy and Amy saying, "Oh, I'm staying with my dad. It's so good. We're gonna have brownies, and I'm going to get back."
And she just looks so happy. I quite like that. We've seen it. It was nice, a little button to the whole
and
thing.
And she's like, "I think I'm going to get fat."
Yeah, I heard that. So good.
That part, like, and then we cut to the trophy, not the eye, in the eyes of that statue. That it looks like Amy's mum has been trapped there.
Mm-hmm. Then that's us.
And that's us.
I really love this episode. I thought it was very good. I can see where he's taking us. But no, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really good. Apart from the little pedantry things that I'm going to keep bringing up, but those are more TV tropes than necessarily Buffy. It's just Buffy's quite good at going against those tropes.
So make sure you go and follow David on all of his socials and bully him. But make sure to join us next week when we're going to be recapping episode 4, which has some incredible themes.
What's episode 4 called?
Teacher's Pet.
So yeah, thanks folks. It's been lovely. Thanks for tuning in again. I think we haven't popped up an email address or anything yet. But once we get our heads around a few things, we'll get an email out because I can't wait to start chatting to people if we get any listeners, if anyone writes in, because then I would love people to start asking you really like nitty gritty questions. We could even do like an episode of questions and answers or something one week, and it could be like a really spoilerific one if you want to go deep into like season 7 and all that stuff. I'm happy that I know kind of what happens, so it'll not really spoil it too much for me. It's more like within the episodes, I quite like. I don't know the arcs per se. I just know roughly kind of what happens. Sorry,
and most likely around the Christmas time, we're going to be doing our live watch along of the season 1 finale.
Yes. Which would be so fun. We could even
where we're also aiming to be in the same room.
Yes, we'll all be in my gaff.
Yep.
Yeah, you're coming over here. We'll all be in my gaff, and we'll maybe even do it like I don't know anybody who's not in the UK, but goggle boxy kind of vibes. Maybe to sit on the sofa. We glass of tea.
And then we'll open up the Zoom at the end for anyone who's also watching to come in. And
that'd be fucking class.
Really Christmas
Day. Christmas Day. So come on and watch our Christmas Day. But these are all the ideas that Tony's coming up with at the minute. So hopefully, please go, if we have socials at this point, like our socials and whatnot.
Make sure to follow and subscribe up the buff.
Yeah, and give us a little. I always hear podcasts talk about this. Give us a little review. Only if it's positive. If it's negative, just keep it yourself. But if it's a positive review, give us it, and then people might listen to us as well. But
and if you can and you're loving it, please make sure to also download the podcast option in Spotify, because those count as kept views, and that can help us get some sponsorship. As you can see, I'm in this rickety old library with my hallucinogenic head.
I'm currently using a microphone and and you can clearly see the state of my house. So yeah, if anyone wants to sponsor us,
I'm literally doing this on 2 computers with 2 sets of headphones, so I need some help.
You have too much money
to do it all one.
I'm joking, you broke. Yeah, we're broke.
I need to take my dog to the vet.
Yes, so if you want to save Arya's life,
here's my GoFundMe for Save Arya.
Save Arya.
It's all.
Anyway, folks, thank you so much. Say goodbye, Tony. You finish it off for us.
Yes. Goodbye, everybody.
Perfect. That's it. That's it done.
That's it.